December 15th, 1999, Great Falls police managed to get a search warrant for the most twisted person they were going to meet. Everything started to go haywire when they found a journal with codes. These were actually recipes with names like Little Boy Pot Pie, French Fried Kid, and Little Boy Stew. Police didn't know if these recipes were actually or fantasy, but they sensed something very disturbing had been in motion right under their noses.
Listen, boy.
What was happening in the kitchen of that unkempt house? How did police end up at the disturbing...
Gang, how you get to the point where you can't even see your neck no more, bro? That shit look like a frog or some shit when their mouth is like going like expanding and shit. That is disgusting, gang.
Case of Nathaniel Bar Jonah. 10-year-old Zachary Xerxes Ramsey, known as Zach, was a carefree and sociable child. His high spirits made him popular among his teachers, parents, and friends. He lived at 400 4th Street North and attended Whittier Elementary School. The friend group would normally meet up before the bell rang to run around and play together before class. Unfortunately, those blissful childhood mornings would soon come to a tragic end. It was a cold winter morning on Tuesday, February 6, 1996.
Damn.
The morning chill of 7:30 a.m. had nothing on Zach and his friends. Zach wore a blue denim jacket with green sleeves, a blue football jersey with his last name imprinted on the back in gold letters, stonewashed jeans, and black high-top sneakers. The plan, as usual, was to gather outside school, play and chat before the bell rang. In his excitement, he almost forgot his lunchbox at home. Following his usual routine, Zach set upon to walk to school.
I remember days like this. But was he walking by himself? Like, I was walking with, like, my brother and sister. So this is kind of crazy. But maybe it's, like, one of the communities where, like, no shit be going on. It's, like, one of the safest communities. So that's why they just feel comfortable and they legit walk to the bus or walk to school. I wonder how far the school is from his house.
However, that day would be far from routine. Zach was well known in the Great Falls community. He never had anything to fear until that day. The streets were covered with snow, and he strolled along kicking around a little ball of snow.
Wow.
He then entered an alley that made his route shorter, even though his school was only 6 blocks away. It wasn't known whether he noticed a man sitting in the off-white four-door sedan parked in the alley behind a house on the 400 block of 5th Avenue North. The engine idled quietly as the figure remained. Zach was a smart kid. It's safe to assume that, had he found something suspicious, he'd have changed his route.
Right.
He was in an area which was well known to him. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary.
Right.
However, somewhere between where the alleyway cuts into 6th Street and comes out at 7th, Zach disappeared. His friends waiting for him thought that he must have been sick and stayed at home.
Wow.
And in keeping with school policy, Zach's mother was called and notified of her son's absence. After looking for Zach with no success, his mother reported him missing.
Damn.
When the news reached the public, it became one of the biggest stories to ever hit the Great Falls community. A child having gone missing while en route to school shocked the public, who was not ready to believe the worst. In 1995 and 96, Montana was seeing one violent crime every 6 hours and 30 minutes on average.
Damn.
The truth was, they had no idea yet about the darkness that had befallen their otherwise peaceful and happy community. An immediate and massive search for little Zach was set upon in Great Falls. The news opened into the world quickly, and hundreds of volunteers, law enforcement officers, and rescue teams joined. The focus centered around the area around the 400 block of 4th Street North, where Zach was last seen. During this...
You think it was some freak ass... You think it was the nigga with the fraud neck that took him? Why always gotta be some freak ass nigga, bro?
Search, investigators discovered a pair of blue jeans and a blue denim jacket, which were believed to belong to Zach.
So he took his clothes off. He made Jit take his clothes off.
The jeans were found in a dumpster near the alleyway where Zach disappeared, while the jacket was found in a nearby field. There were a number of interviews taken around the street Zach disappeared from. There were many witnesses who affirmed having seen a little boy with his attire. Others knew Zach by name and had seen him walking down to school that morning.
Damn.
These accounts became increasingly more disturbing. There was a witness who remembered seeing Zach in the alleyway. To him, he looked like he was waiting for someone. A more disturbing account was from a family of 3 who lived in an apartment in the alleyway. They reported seeing Zach in the alleyway that morning, and also reported seeing an off-white 4-door car nearly run him over. Another witness who lived near the end of the alleyway reported seeing Zach crying with an upset, obese adult male following 2 feet behind him at about...
So it's the nigga with the fraud neck, fat neck nigga. So it's some freaky ass, bro. Freaky deaky ass nigga.
7:45 a.m. One person claimed to know the identity of the adult male following Zach. He saw this man in a navy blue police jacket taking out the trash.
This nigga's a police officer? This nigga 12? Ain't no way he 12.
The witness also saw Zach
Ain't no
turning
way.
into the alleyway while the man stood still behind the dumpster. He recognized this man to be Nathaniel Bar Jonah, a man who had a disturbing crime record around children.
Wow.
To get to Zach, they needed to know all about Nathaniel.
So he just got a disturbing crime record around children. He's just allowed to be out and about. That's the shit I be talking about, bro.
Nathaniel was born on
This
February
freak-ass
15,
nigga,
1957, in Worcester, Massachusetts, as David Paul Brown, to parents Philip Brown and Tyra Brown. He was the youngest of 3 children. As an infant, he seemed to be insatiable, always wanting more to eat. His muscles weren't fully developed, and being overweight had rendered him immobile. He also despised being touched.
Get your ass on the line, gang. Go be an offensive lineman or some shit. Stop touching kids. The fuck is... Yo.
Merely 3 weeks old, he developed hydrocephalus,
What is
a
that?
condition in which extra fluid fills the brain cavities, pressurizing the brain and causing brain damage.
Wow.
He did eventually recover from this condition. By the time he was 3, the Brown family decided to move to Lantana in Florida. This was where Nathaniel spent the initial few years of his life. His father, Philip, was a heavy equipment mechanic at a local construction firm. He was also a strict disciplinarian, and Nathaniel was not an easy child. To add to it, Nathaniel had siblings that he was not particularly close with. He developed a habit of stealing from them and other children. Philip saw this thievery as kleptomania, a mental health disorder that makes one want to steal.
What?
Also, somehow he felt
That's a
the disorder had something to do with sexual orientation.
What?
He feared Nathaniel would grow up to be gay, because of which Philip would often discipline him with a thick leather belt. Whether it was the violence or the brain damage,
You just fucked the jit up even more, gang. He got mental issues and you just fucking him up even more. Make him question himself. Damn.
or just how Nathaniel was born, he was turning out to be an extremely strange individual with some disturbing quirks. He was manifesting unpleasant psychological tendencies, like picking on his skin until it scabbed over, and then chewing on the wound until it bled.
Ew, nigga.
He also didn't...
Bro, yo, L parents, gang. L parents. Starts with the parents, bro. Sometimes the parents can't help it, but most of the time it starts with the parents. L parents, gang.
mind ingesting his own on occasion. The school found it to be a
Nigga was a vampire? What the fuck? You drinking his blood and shit?
disturbing sight, and his classmates were horrified by him.
Wow.
His mother was regularly called by the school about this habit, but she neither had any explanation, nor did she seem particularly disturbed by this strange, self-soothing behavior.
Dumbass parents.
In 1964, a few months after moving back to Worcester, he lured a girl into his basement with a promise of showing a Ouija board which he
The
had received as a gift.
The fuck giving Jits Ouija board? Yo, these parents is crazy, gang.
He used the same Ouija board to choke her. But the little girl's screams were heard, and Nathaniel's mother showed up before.
What the fuck? Nah, that kid off his marbles, gang. What the? I never heard a day in my life a nigga try to choke somebody with a board. You try to choke the little girl with a Ouija board? Try to choke the bitch with a Ouija board?
It was too late. The girl was released, and the matter was never discussed again. Nathaniel was mentally going somewhere there was no coming back from. In 1973, a second incident took place. Nathaniel wore a police-like jacket and composed a note made out of words using cutouts of magazines in an attempt to entice
Where the fuck
boys
is this
from
nigga
Webster
getting
to a
police
cemetery.
jackets and shit from, yeah?
He offered the boys
eBay?
$20 and a surprise. However, the boys refused because they
Nigga
found him
bribing
odd-looking.
Jits, bro.
The mother of the two boys declined to press charges against Nathaniel.
Shit
She
crazy,
believed he
gang.
needed psychiatric help rather than the criminal justice system. This was a decision that would later haunt everyone, as now, whenever Nathaniel would don a police jacket, a child somewhere was in imminent danger.
They
In
didn't
late March
confiscate
of
that shit from
1975,
him?
Nathaniel, now 18 and on the verge of dropping out of high school,
Wow.
spotted a boy walking to school.
L parents, gang. I don't know
Dressed
what
in
the fuck
his
the parents
infamous
is doing,
police
bro.
uniform, Nathaniel abducted a boy named Richard O'Connor. Luckily, a neighbor spotted this abduction and informed the police. A
Yo,
patrol car later spotted the vehicle used in the abduction in a parking lot.
this nigga shouldn't be outside,
Backup was
gang,
called.
just roaming
Nathaniel
around.
was ordered to get out of the car. There, in the car, lay Richard O'Connor on the verge of death, bloodied and in critical condition.
And I hope that
He had
jit is
also
okay, but
defecated
if
and
not, like,
urinated
the
on
jit
himself.
shouldn't be walking in alleyways, bro.
Nathaniel was arrested right then and there, but released on probation later. During that time, he traveled to nearby Hartford, Connecticut. There, he impersonated a police officer and abducted a girl. The girl,
Yo,
however,
what
began to
the
convulse
fuck?
and vomit during the assault, after which Nathaniel threw her out of the car by the sidewalk.
Nigga,
A
what?
witness noted his car plate number, which led to his arrest.
Bro.
One might believe that with these two arrests, Nathaniel's menace was finally coming to a conclusion. However, this case is unlike any other.
Is that little girl having a seizure?
Despite being arrested for this assault, the information about it never reached Nathaniel's probation officer. He was released from parole in May 1976, marking the
Yo, you can't make this shit up, bro. This shit is crazy.
end of his probationary period. This release was handed over to Nathaniel with a thank you letter for his cooperation. If these arrests did anything for Nathaniel, they left him more unhinged. On
'Cause now you
September
think he just
24th,
get away with shit,
1977,
bro.
he spotted two boys who were exiting the White City cinemas, laughing and having a good time in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts.
Shoot,
Nathaniel
bro.
was now
Look
claiming
at this
to be an
freak ass Nick. Look out. Yo, this ugly eyed jit. Ugly eyed Paul Blart, ugly eyed boy. Fat ass nose, fat ass neck, ugly ass jit. Ugly eye. Nigga shoving all them fucking donuts in his yo.
undercover FBI agent.
Fat ass nigga.
Somehow, he convinced these boys to enter his vehicle. He took the car to a secluded area where he handcuffed the boys and
Fucking
began
greasy
torturing them.
bitch.
Weighing
Sweat grease and
375
shit.
pounds,
Fat ass
Nathaniel
nigga.
repeatedly jumped on the chest of one of the boys, only stopping when he thought he'd killed him. After
This
they
fat ass nigga was jumping on Jit's chest. Yo, this Paul Blart fucking.
the first boy on the side of the road, he drove off with the other boy still alive and in his trunk. However, the boy that was left behind came to consciousness and found help.
Bro, the nigga probably
Within an
fractured
hour or
his-
so,
his-
Nathaniel
his
was
fucking
found, as was the
ribs.
boy in the trunk. For this crime, for the first time, Nathaniel was going to get
Nigga
a serious
ugly,
punishment.
bro. Ugly eye.
He received the maximum
Look at
sentence
him.
of 18
Fucking nigga look like Voldemort. Ugly eye.
to 20 years at the Massachusetts Correctional Institution, Concord.
Nigga
Now
look like he
assigned
smell
to a
like
prison
must and
psychologist,
lemons.
the current institution
Musky
was
ass
found
nigga.
inadequate for Nathaniel after
With a
engaging in
little pinch of
conversations
lemon.
where he listed
Dirty
deranged
ass
sexual
nigga.
fantasies. He was then transferred to the Bridgewater.
What did he just
The
say?
current institution was found inadequate for Nathaniel after engaging in conversations where he listed deranged sexual fantasies. He was then transferred to the Bridgewater State Hospital, which was a state-operated treatment center for sexually dangerous offenders. He was to remain there for an indefinite term. On March 22, 1984, while still in prison, Nathaniel, whose legal name was David Brown, changed his name to Nathaniel Benjamin Levi Bar Jonah. However, whether this name change would reflect a change in his ways remained to be seen. He gave several explanations.
He can do that if he's been fucking like sexually assaulting and groping kids and shit. He could change his name. That shouldn't be allowed.
As to why he changed his name.
Kidnapping kids and shit.
That he wanted to know what it was like to be discriminated against and persecuted as a Jew.
What?
Later, he told someone that he was Jewish and he wanted his Jewish identity to reflect in his name, although his ethnic ancestry was Scandinavian, and that name was all the Jewish connection he ever had.
Bro. Nigga delusional.
In that same year of 1984, Nathaniel won a parole hearing after two psychologists hired by the defense testified that he was no longer a threat to society.
Dumbass nigga.
The state of
I wonder how them two psychologists feel when he just kidnapped this nigga. Y'all let him out. Y'all said he wasn't a danger. And years later, he kidnapped another kid. Dumbass. Yo, y'all some stupid ass.
Massachusetts failed to bring enough evidence or testimonies to prove that Nathaniel was, in fact, dangerous.
Fuck y'all.
And thus
Dumb as
ineligible
hell,
to roam free. On February 12, 1991, Superior Court Judge Walter Steele ordered his release. However, issues related to administration delayed this release until July of that year. Despite the testimony from the psychiatrists hired by the defense, his assigned psychiatrists were confident that he still fantasized about abducting, murdering, and kissing children.
And you still let him out.
One of the psychiatrists at Bridgewater was also informed by
Still let him out.
that his primary means of sexual arousal came from violent thoughts of torture that had long existed within him.
What the fuck?
However, Nathaniel was released back into the world.
Still let him out, even if he's
within a month. It was clear all that had changed in Nathaniel inside of the prison was his name.
Fucking yeah.
On August 9th, 1991, outside of a post office in Oxford, Massachusetts, a boy sat alone in a car.
Bunch of just retards.
Nathaniel saw an opportunity and entered the vehicle. Nathaniel, who was now 300 pounds after a stint in prison, sat on the boy's chest. As soon as the
the fuck, he like suffocating. Yo, fat ass nigga, bro. He's like a fucking villain in a Cartoon Network shit, like some cartoon. He's just sitting on niggas' 300-pound ass. Fuck hotter, bro. Fat ass nigga, bro.
Caught this sight,
suffocating
she ran towards the car. This prompted Nathaniel to flee the scene, although he was recognized by law enforcement and arrested later.
This retard.
He confessed that he intended to kill him in exchange for a guilty plea.
So he confessed he was going to kill him, and he still was let out. He was still let out. Let me hear it. He was still let out.
Assault and battery. Worcester County District Attorney offered a 2-year probationary period. He was also ordered to move back to Great Falls, Montana, where his mother lived. Nathaniel was on the loose once again.
Yo, these niggas.
Perhaps what was more astonishing was the fact that he was asked to move to Montana by Massachusetts.
How many times this nigga gonna have to show you, bro? How many times he got to show you? Till he actually kill a kid, how many times?
Massachusetts officials, as if it was a solution. However, for the next few years, Nathaniel seemed to slip under the radar until after Zach's disappearance. This case was assigned to Detective Bill Bellucci. He was given a list of sex offenders in the region, which did not include Nathaniel.
Why?
However, Detective Bellucci decided to ignore this list and keep his focus on Nathaniel, as he was seen in the alleyway by several witnesses. Detective Bellucci requested multiple search warrants for the property where Nathaniel and his mother lived together, but they were all denied. Nathaniel, meanwhile, moved out of his mother's home. For the next 3 years, it became a cat-and-mouse game between him and Detective Bellucci. Despite Nathaniel's long criminal history, he managed to exploit loopholes within the legal system evading appropriate consequences.
It's not even this nigga knowing nothing about, like, it's not him being smart. It's just the niggas around him are fucking retarded. This nigga's dumb as shit.
However, Bellucci operated outside the conventional system, recognizing individual elements and identifying Nathaniel as an exceptional case. Although Nathaniel lacked a record of actual murder, he had come dangerously close to it on multiple occasions. On December 13th, 1999, Bellucci, who had kept a keen eye on Nathaniel, spotted him outside an elementary school for the third time in a week.
Like, this nigga don't cover up his tracks, he just does shit, bro. He just does it to do it. There's no carefulness, he's
3 years, Bellucci had believed that Nathaniel would strike again, and Bellucci was justified in his concern. During these visits to the local elementary school, Nathaniel wore a dark blue jacket and a knit cap and carried 2 cans of pepper spray, a toy gun, and a badge. Bellucci acted decisively, seizing the opportunity to charge Nathaniel with impersonating an officer and carrying a concealed weapon.
Shit crazy, bro.
On December 15th, 1999, a judge approved a search warrant for objects used to impersonate officers at both Nathaniel's mother's home and his own. This was not a search warrant for violent crimes, but it was all Bellucci needed. While searching Nathaniel's home, police found items both expected and unexpected.
What that mean?
There were items that aided Nathaniel in impersonating a law officer.
They're gonna find the jit.
There were a couple of coats, one dark blue and another with a toy badge in the pocket.
They're gonna find the jit.
A second toy badge, a stun gun, and a baseball cap reading Security Enforcement. However, the search took a dark turn when investigators discovered a pull string emerging from the ceiling of Nathaniel's kitchen.
A pull string?
2 albums were found with cutouts of children, as well as a document about knots and bondage, and an article entitled Autoerotic Asphyxia. With a little more scrutiny into Nathaniel's whereabouts, detectives discovered that he'd not gone to work on February 6, 1996, the day of Zach's disappearance, nor the days leading up to it. On that day, his mother had accompanied his brother to another town to attend a funeral. However, her car, an off-white 4-door 1978 Toyota Corolla, remained with Nathaniel. Given the discoveries made, Bellucci was granted another search warrant within 2 days of the first one. During the second search in the house, amongst newspaper clippings from Zach's case, police found a strange list entitled Lake Webster with the names of 54 boys. They went all the way back to Nathaniel's first victims from Massachusetts, including the names of the 3 boys he assaulted in the 70s.
Nigga,
The last entry was Zachary Ramsey, and it was followed by the word died.
I wanna blick this
nigga. It didn't stop there. 3,500 photographs of children and undeveloped film containing images of Nathaniel and 3 unidentified boys were also recovered. There were some journals with arbitrary characters that looked like some sort of coded writing. These were immediately taken in to be reviewed at a later date. Nathaniel's roommates were interviewed. One former roommate described having seen clothes that matched Zach's clothing that he was last seen in. He'd also found some bloodied gloves.
Who the fuck will be roommates with this freak-ass nigga? Who was that, bro? To tolerate this weird-ass...
In a conversation with another roommate, Nathaniel mentioned Zachary Ramsey without much context. At one point, he even claimed that Zach would never be found because he'd been dismembered and scattered across different locations.
What the fuck, bro? This shit making me sick, bro. This shit pissing me off. Bro, kill this nigga!
A month later, the code in the journal found at Nathaniel's home was cracked. It was a cookbook, but the recipes' names indicated Nathaniel's worst fantasies had already
Put this fat-ass nigga in jail for life!
The titles of the dishes had a disturbing pattern, with names like Little Pot Pie, French Fried,
under the fucking
and
prison.
Little Stew. Finally, police found a large, stained section of
Freak
plywood
ass
in
nigga,
Nathaniel's
bro.
garage, which was scrubbed with bleach
Put the
and
parents.
also struck
Fuck it. Put the parents in that bitch too. They guilty too. Fuck them.
several times with a meat cleaver, as if it had been used as a cutting board. A luminol test in the room revealed that the word Tita had once been written on the floor in blood. This was tentatively linked to James Tita, a boy who was found and strangled in Wren Ridge, New Hampshire in 1970.
He was raped? Yo, this freak ass, bro. Raped and strangled him.
Had once been written on the floor in blood. This was tentatively linked to James Tita, a boy who was found and strangled in Wren Ridge, New Hampshire in 1973. It was learned that, in the days after Zach's disappearance, Nathaniel had cookouts for his neighbors in which he served deer burgers that tasted strange.
I swear to, yo, I swear to, yo, this nigga Jeffrey Dahmer. This nigga is a fucking fat ass Jeffrey Dahmer.
Nathaniel claimed that he'd hunted, killed, butchered, and wrapped the meat personally. However, Nathaniel didn't own a gun or a hunting license, and credit card records suggested that he stopped buying food for a month after Zach disappeared.
Yo, this nigga's a cannibal.
Finally, what looked to be human hair was found inside his meat grinder.
I'm about to throw up. Yo, this fucking freak, bro. Yo, this nigga's a fat ass Jeffrey Dahmer. Nigga gay, fucking freak, cannibal. Nigga just fat. 300-pound bitch.
An excavation at a former residence uncovered 21 bone fragments belonging to a boy between 8 and 13 years old. The house's pipes couldn't be examined because they'd been replaced due to constant clogging issues. DNA from the hair and bones belonged to 2 different African-American males, neither of whom was Zach. These bones have never been identified. Almost all of his life, Nathaniel had hunted like a leisurely activity, but when it came to legal proceedings and trial, it came down to just 3 children. Zach's case had caused the most uproar, and it could have been the catalyst that brought Nathaniel down.
This shit is crazy.
However,
bro.
Zach's mother refused to believe that her son was dead. Was it denial, stemming from the inconceivable pain associated with the emerging truth, or perhaps encouragement from the defense team? The world would never come to know that. Her refusal, however, hindered any closure to Zach's case. She didn't believe Nathaniel was in any way related to Zach's disappearance because a psychic convinced her that Zach was living in Italy.
What the?
In fact, she
why
threatened
is
to
everybody
defend
just
Nathaniel
being?
if he was brought to trial
Why
for
is
her son's
everybody
murder.
being? And I apologize, like her son died, but like, bro, yo, everybody just acting retarded in this kid.
Eventually, the charges related to Zach's disappearance had to be dropped due to a lack of evidence.
Yo,
Police and prosecutors who'd worked hard in recent years to nab Nathaniel had only one option: to focus on other possible victims, and to do it quickly. 2 names in the list found at Nathaniel's home belonged to the boys who lived in the same apartment building as him. These boys also appeared on film that had been seized from Nathaniel's home. One of the boys confirmed that Nathaniel invited them to a sleepover and then molested them, but the other boy visited.
yo, get this nigga. How much fucking evidence they gotta show?
Nathaniel in jail and wrote to him, saying that he was his friend and that he never harmed him. This predator and sexual deviant was almost in the folds of the judicial system, and everyone would be able to see him for exactly who he was.
They should have been seen
But
it.
once again, the case was falling through the cracks of legality.
Yo, these niggas is retarded.
26-year-old Mary Patrone, who was just a girl when she was assaulted by Nathaniel, recognized him in a blink. However, the statute of limitations had expired, and Nathaniel couldn't be charged with this offense.
Yo, that's so
numerous
retarded,
failures
bro.
by the
That's so
judicial system in
dumb.
the past, Nathaniel was subsequently sentenced to 130 years in prison without the possibility of parole on the charges of kidnapping, aggravated assault, and sexual assault of various. In 2008,
Yes.
Nathaniel was found unconscious in his prison cell due to a heart attack. He'd been in poor health for some time.
Fat
and
ass
on this
nigga.
day, he
Should
was
have been
pronounced
working
dead.
out. Fat bitch.
He took many horrifying secrets to the grave. Nathaniel's case can be attributed to a number of factors, including inadequate communication and information sharing. For instance, his probation officer didn't know of his other crime in 1977. In 1999, one would expect the process might have changed.
Yo, bro.
However, a Montana court was not aware of Nathaniel's crimes in Massachusetts. The system failed to understand Nathaniel's pattern of behavior and thus failed to handle the situation. Lack of awareness directly led to the atrocious use of many children over the span of decades.
Shit crazy, bro. That's sad.
Despite the
bro.
objections of Zach's mother, a judge declared Zachary Ramsey legally dead in 2011. However, if Zach's mother was right and he's still alive somewhere, he would be in his 30s and look like this. Nathaniel was a child predator and possibly even a cannibal, yet he was allowed to walk free again and again. The fact that he served 11 years in a mental institution and assaulted again within a month of release was overlooked.
Crazy.
Do you think that contemporary systems are equipped to effectively address such situations? Or are there still individuals slipping through systemic loopholes, allowing them to perpetuate horrors that should have been prevented?
Obviously not. They fooling these
Let us
niggas.
know in the comment section below.
Niggas just retarded,
And if you
bro.
found today's video interesting, please consider subscribing to our channel, hit that like button, and share our videos. Until next time,
Bro, that was
stay
sad,
safe.
gang. Damn, bro. Y'all stay safe out there, bro. And please, parents, be smart, bro. Y'all niggas acting retarded, bro. Be smart. Justice need to do better, gang. That shit is terrible. That was a long time ago, but like we probably had much better improvements. But I feel like shit like that still happens today.